Hey everybody, this is Calvin Waite. I trade crypto for a living. I'm not a registered or licensed financial advisor, planner, or broker, so nothing on this channel should be taken as a recommendation to buy or sell. I also trade all of these things, so I probably have a vested interest in there. But there's plenty of entertainment value and lots of education, so this will be awesome. For those of you who didn't know, my subscription channel is live. So look at the link in the description over at cryptoinfluencers.com and you can see how I make all of my trades and what I do and what I think about everything. This channel is for more hypothetical and looking at trends, and the other one is for actual trading, so you might be interested in that. Well, I hope everyone had a nice weekend. I got a little lazy getting to my video today because I went on a sweet run, got kids off, picked up and dropped off kids at preschool. It's been a nice full day, but yeah, good times. So anyway, just as the usual, just a couple of announcements. Just remember on Wednesday I do my live stream. Recently it's been like 12:40 Mountain Time. I was shooting for 12:30, but Wednesdays are a little bit busier right around then. So if I'm 5 minutes or 10 minutes late, don't give up on me. But that we do all the time. And then as a reminder, we do cryptoinfluencers.com is kind of my home base. This is the free channel. This is the paid one. And we've had quite a few people join us on the pro channel, so welcome. Very cool to have a little more people, join us, and it's cool to have some conversations and see what your backgrounds are and kind of what your opinions are. So that's pretty cool. All right, let's dig in. We have a weekly close, so we're gonna look at the weekly. Last time we had a weekly close, we were pulling back a little bit. This is the total crypto market, so this is all crypto. All the total market value of all crypto combined. We finally had this candle. It was red, and it did not touch our 200. So we were kind of looking like we were starting to move out, but I knew that we were losing momentum, and this was kind of our first sign that things were breaking down. And on smaller time frames, it was easier to see that we were coming down. The crazy thing is that our next candle, so this is the candle we just closed. We kind of need to ignore this one because our week is definitely just begun. Like this is what our week looks like. It just closed, and it closed below the 200. So that is significant. Every single tiny little detail in this chart is important. And our 200 was sitting at 973, and we closed at 968. So we were below, and it is a big deal if you miss. Does that mean we can't just pop it up? But I mean, we can, but we have moved a decent amount. And with this here, I do expect one more week of downside. And then I think we're going to have to be at a point where we reevaluate. One major thing is our most recent resistance, which normally flips to support, is not support. We're well below the top here. So you can see that we closed not only below the 200. Oh, you know what? Hang on a minute. Yeah, it is the 200. I was worried that I had drawn this line. No, this blue here is the 200. So we are below our most recent swing high that should have flipped to support, which means this candle was too big, this move was too big, and we're a little bit out of balance. So coming down would be really, really healthy for us. And where is that special kind of sweet spot? I'm betting the monthly or the 20 week, one of these two. These will be pretty important. If I go to a monthly chart, you can see that we've blown through this monthly chart. It would be very, very normal for us to come back and find it as support, start a new month, and we'll start getting hotter. And I fully expect the market to move up. I know there's going to be a lot of bearishness around the Bitcoin weekly death cross. And so we're going to hear a lot of doom and gloom out there, but I'm not believing it. I think the pullback was expected. and I don't think the downside is going to be as horrible as people think. So this is all, you know, kind of currently in play. If we take out Bitcoin and Ethereum and we just look at the alts, they have hung on to their 200. We're above that. And a very reasonable move would be to move to here. So there's room to go on the alts. Alts will probably fall percentage-wise much faster than Bitcoin. Proof of that is our Bitcoin dominance is starting to rise again. When Bitcoin dominance rises and Bitcoin's falling, that means the alts are getting killed. So I'm expecting the alts to pull back pretty good, and right in this area here would be pretty awesome. We'll kind of see how this all plays out. The high never reached this pre-FTX level for alts, but with this nice swing low and this really big move, our most recent resistance that would flip to support is all the way down here, and I don't even think we'll get that low. But we'll kind of watch all of this play out. But from a weekly standpoint, everything's pulling back a little bit. I just don't think we'll have more than a week or two. I really don't. But we'll see. If you go to microcaps, there's still a lot of enthusiasm in the markets, and it'll cool down slowly. I'm not sure how this will react when markets actually do pull back a little further, but they've been pretty strong. So kind of looking at that. All right, let's look at the Bitcoin chart. So this is kind of the interesting development. So this is, you know how when we look at a chart, we're looking at every single detail. We're looking at every little reaction, every touch point. I think it's very, very curious that this line that I've put exactly, so if I change this from a candle to a line chart, you can see how it absolutely just grazes the tops of these. This is perfectly in line, and this is on purpose, to put this line in exactly on our chart. Now there's a huge gap between March of 2022 and our current, February or even January, where we're actually January. So we haven't interacted with this line for many, 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 many months. And, go back to candles. Look what we did. After we broke above it and came up and essentially said, okay, world, we're breaking out. We're breaking out of this. The thing that we normally do is we come back and find it as support. This is prior to liftoff. And I was actually nervous that we came back this hard, that we actually already did it. I think there's a little more downside left in Bitcoin. I think we have one more leg, and it's kind of to get us to this point. At least 2,900 is a sweet spot, and I think we could wick lower. So that's kind of where I'm looking at as far as Bitcoin goes. So this weekly close here is, I feel like this level is in play. And it doesn't have to be a candle body, but usually it is. So if we have a candle body touching here, we're going to be closing below this line. So that makes me wonder if maybe we have 2 weeks before we're done with our downside. So when I say 1 to 2 weeks, that's really about all we need. But look at this interesting candle. What's this thick green line? It is our 50-month moving average. And the 50-month has obviously not closed, because this is we're not at the end of the month, but the level wise, we did absolutely touch this almost perfectly. And then we came down, and the bottom of our candle touched this perfectly as support. And what usually will happen, especially if it's an important level like this, oftentimes you'll get a wick, and then you'll get a body. So I'm fully expecting our body to close at about 21,100 by the end of the week. That's 6 days from now. That's if this plays out the way I expect. I mean, obviously, these are all statistics, right? You just there's a greater than 50% chance that something will happen, and then there's still an astronomical amount of things that can go wrong, right? But this level here is very very likely. Most often we would do something like that, especially where we had a perfect mirror. We had so much support and 2 solid weeks of strength above it. When you break a resistance and then you give yourself enough time that you've got space to go, when you come back, it's usually much stronger. If you break it for one candle and you're immediately threatening to come back, it's way weaker. So this is much stronger. This is a much stronger flip to support. But the daily is kind of saying that there's probably one more shakeout to happen. So these are pretty big moves, and this is our death cross on the weekly. So we're going to start hearing. So this morning I like to hear general news just to hear what the what's being fed out there in the in the media. And it was the first comment about the weekly death cross. And so I think there is fear still left in the market, and there's going to be a lot of public chatterboxes that are pointing out how terrible and scary this death cross is. And honestly, I don't know, nobody knows what it'll really do, but I really believe like our bottom is in, and that whatever our reaction to this death cross is, that it's not going to bring us below our cycle low. So if that's the case, wherever the bottom is, somewhere in this magical spot, I don't even know where, between 20,000, 21,000, somewhere in here, it's most likely that we will find our support. And in a matter of a month or so, we're going to start moving back up. And believe me, if we start threatening 23,750 again, the top's going to come off of this thing. And it's going to be awesome. So if you're planning on going long, I would prepare your longs before we retouch these levels, because this is when things can get explosive. Okay, so we had kind of an unusual situation. Well, actually, let's talk about Ethereum. Ethereum is pulling back a little bit. This chart is a little prettier. This level here that I've drawn, this is at 1425. We have our 200 coming up at 1414. We've pulled back really nicely, and we are really getting close. It could be this week, it could be next week, but I'm betting a touch off of some of these levels, and Ethereum's done its pullback. So it is looking really nice. The one thing that's interesting is if I go to the daily on Ethereum, the daily has touched the 50 for the first time since we really launched. This is the first touch of the 50 that we've had since then, and we touched it intraday. So what I'm expecting to have happen is we've touched it intraday. Tomorrow, I'm betting our body starts testing it down here. And then we'll kind of see how things play out. But we're getting there. There's a lot of support right here. You can see how many trend lines are just right here. We have our 200-week moving average. We have our 200-day. The 50's a little more hot on the tail, but yeah, we'll have to see. A likely place, I mean, we have these candles down here at 13, but that would be pretty upside down. I would expect our support to be much more in the 14 and above area. So things are getting warmer. Things are getting there. But yeah, we'll be watching. If you go to the daily, there is kind of an unusual thing that has happened. So I drew this line back here 6, 7, or 8 months ago, or whenever. It was quite a while ago. This is June. This is the trading range that we were originally watching. Sorry about that. This was the trading range that we were originally watching for a Wyckoff, and we were trading in this range pretty intensely. And when we fell out and kind of messed around here, this was our first confirmation that this trading range was still in play, because we had these wicks that rejected off of this trading range a couple of times, and then it took a big candle to break through it. So now we've retreated back, and this close is unbelievable. Look how close. Like, we're within dollars of this line. And Then we found it as support with a bullish engulfing candle. This I believe didn't materialize because there's still a little bit more downward pressure. This wick today kind of negates it because we broke a new low. But it's an interesting close. We got 40 minutes to close, and we're trying to look bullish. What is most, what is likely to happen is a move up to, like, usually you struggle down here until the 20 comes down, and then you eventually touch the 20. The first touch is usually resistance, especially when we've been above it this long. So that's kind of something that I'm watching out for. But our 50 is still down here and it's untouched. And I'm still expecting Bitcoin to pull at least to the 50 and most likely to the 200. So there's a lot going on, but very curious that this line that we drew long time ago has become a significant source of consolidation and support. So we have 4 days in a row where we have interacted with this level and have held it as support. Obviously, the more that you touch a line, the weaker it gets. So this is likely to break down, but very interesting to see this from so far away. I mean, this was the top of our candle bodies here, or top of the wicks here, candle bodies here, tons of support right here, and then we had a near miss right here, and then we haven't touched it for a full solid 2 months, and now it's back in play. So this is very interesting. Stuff like this really fascinates me when you see things coming back into play months and months after something, after you've kind of thought, oh, maybe this is resolved or uninteresting. Yeah, but anyway, with that in mind, this line's definitely resolved. So I'll delete this so we don't have that in the way. But yeah, very interesting. Nothing really crazy. The only last thing I was going to say is that it was very interesting to see that the S&P had a positive day. 1.17%. It moved up pretty good. I feel like the S&P is probably going to come down and find support, confirm support on the other side of this line. So we've had this line in play since the beginning of 2022. So this is over a year old. Often when you break something like this, you come back and hit it as support, and then you're off to the races. And we'd want to do it before we touch this line. This is kind of our deadline. If we don't touch it before here, then we probably won't. We'll probably just, we'll zigzag and off we go. But I do expect a pullback of some kind. And if we even touched it intraday, it would be enough. We just need a nod on this line, and then we can move off. So when S&P's up and Bitcoin's down, that's pretty unusual, especially when there wasn't that much weakness in Bitcoin. The weakness really stemmed from a bullish engulfing that ended with an indecision candle. So that was kind of the thing. And then we opened today, and we've been kind of playing around down in this lower range. So but yeah, it's kind of odd that we had so much fear in Bitcoin and so much strength in the S&P. And it makes me wonder, CPI numbers come out tomorrow, and I wonder if the S&P, if this became a misdirection, if people are like, people who know are buying things up, making things look green, creating liquidity for themselves, and then they're going to get ready to blow this thing up. So I don't know. I have no idea. But it was kind of odd to see such a striking difference between Bitcoin price and the S&P, because the S&P's formation, I showed this. I don't know. Maybe I just showed the pro channel, but this is a bearish Harami candlestick pattern. So a likely outcome after this is bearish. We would likely pull back after a candle like this. But yeah, I mean, even moving back to the 50 would make sense, But either way, it was kind of crazy to see this thing just going up like crazy, and then Bitcoin struggling. Where I would have thought that the S&P would have gone down. Bitcoin going down wasn't too much of a surprise. We're kind of waiting for one more leg down, but that's kind of where my mind is on that. So we'll see how this all works out. A lot of the alts are looking, there's a little bit of strength in the alts. but a lot of these are going to be bull traps. There's a lot that are pulling up. You know, they've kind of topped out, they've fallen down, and they're doing some kind of an attempt, and then they'll probably fall one more time along with Bitcoin. And then we're going to start finding entry points. So that's what's cool. We're going to be looking for places to go long. All right, that's all I've got to say, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting me and my channel. It's pretty cool to do something that I enjoy doing and have people, you know, here. So, but yeah, one piece of data at a time. And for the guys that have come over to Pro channel, that's really fun. It's nice to have some fresh ideas and everything. And it's slowly growing, which is cool. It's fun to make a community like that. All right, we'll talk to you all later. We'll catch you tomorrow. Thanks for making it to the end of my video. Make sure you keep those trades small. Don't force a trade. Don't get impatient. And if you want to see how all this works, please come over and check me out on the subscription channel at cryptoinfluencers.com. Again, the link is in the description.